Thank you very much, Donna, for picking me up. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh yes, this is New York time. I'm 1:45. I guess it's 11:45 here. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's a good morning, and I'm very, very happy to be here. Donna McFarlane, Rupert Lewis, Bobby Hill, all of the many guests, distinguished people. Jimmy Tucker's name wasn't mentioned before, but Jimmy's an old friend, a stalwart Garvey, and he goes back many, many years. Good morning, Jimmy, and welcome. Howard Dodson. He's been talked about, and he's going to be one of our lecturers today. And in respect of Howard, I'm not going to talk for a very long time, so I won't wear you out. Howard, I want to wear out your audience. So they'll be fresh for you. Mr. Biko, it's indeed an honor for me to be in your presence and for you to be here at Liberty Hall. Your father was a champion of liberty, as was my father. He paid the most extreme price possible. We honor him, we honor you, we share your pain. It's a pain that 1.2 billion African people share with you. I hope that helps you to bear up some for your loss and the contribution of your family. I have chosen for my talk today, liberate your mind from that mental slavery. That's very much a topic that Donna emphasizes, and it's on all of the mailings that I get from Liberty Hall. It's of extreme importance because the colonizers didn't just colonize territory, but they colonized our minds, and they colonized the knowledge that we should have about ourselves, about our history, and about the world. Steve Biko said that the greatest weapon the oppressor has in his hands is the minds of the oppressed. He understood what it meant to have a liberated mind. Each of us has a mind, which is the most basic, intimate aspect of our being. We consider it ourselves. We all have the feeling of existing with an ego as a sense of I that is a conditioned consciousness that looks out at the world and receives information from it by our five senses. Our everyday existence depends on our regulation of the space between self and other to create happiness and avoid pain. This is how we live our life. It is a mind game of a consciousness conditioned by parents, school, religion, society, peer groups, media, the entertainment industry, etc. We project that conditioning onto the world that exists, and that constitutes our reality. So our thoughts, emotions, and conditioned behavior determine the world in which we live. We think that mind is what we are. It experiences happiness and suffering. It experiences different thoughts, sensations, and emotions, such as desire, anger, jealousy, and pride. We take mind, its functioning and capacities as absolute reality, and give it absolute authority to run our lives. However, the mind which runs our life is largely a mystery to most of us. So we're really functioning on automatic pilot based on our previous conditioning and habitual patterns. Habitual patterns are one step up from reflexes, and habitual behavior is a manifestation of our animal nature. as intelligent human beings, it behooves us to understand our real nature, who and what we actually are. So we must look at our behavior and we must study our mind. When we study our behavior, we find that if we get angry easily, people either avoid us or respond angrily in kind. In other words, negative behavior begets a negative response. If we are kind to someone, they in turn or someone else will be kind to us. And on and on and on. Positive behavior begets a positive response. So through observation, we can find out that the basic law of cause and effect is operational in everything that we do. How then can we change behavior so that our life is more peaceful, happy, and successful? When we look closer, we see that every act is preceded by a thought. Since thoughts occur in the mind, we must now look at our mind to determine its nature and how it produces thoughts, emotions, and habitual patterns that govern our behavior. When we try to look at our mind, we find our thoughts connected to one another as an endless stream demanding our attention. As we continue our observation, we see that our thoughts are connected one to another by memory, inference, and many attachments: likes, dislikes, hopes, fears, success, failure, praise, blame, pain, pleasures. So attitudes and habits produce thoughts, and in turn, thoughts produce habits and attitudes, a seemingly endless cycle. However, as we look further, we can unravel those connections and see fragments of mind, each containing some particular thought. We begin to see then the nature of mind, which acts as the medium for thought, as the canvas does for the painted picture. With each element of mind, with its thought, is entirely separate and disconnected. So the stream of thought has been broken by our observation and introspection, and a gap has occurred, which has allowed the awareness of the nature of our mind to break through. From this peaceful, stable, unconditioned space, we can watch the functioning of mind, thoughts, emotions, habitual patterns, like scenes in a movie, with you as the watcher and the audience. You experience the fact that none of these things are you, because you're there watching, so how could it be? The scenes in the movie of your life come and go without any attachment. Who then is the watcher? Who am I? What is my real self? Now begins the most wonderful journey of your life, getting to know your own true self. The two characteristics that separates the human species from all others is one, a consciousness that can be conscious of itself, and two, the ability to choose thoughts, words, and behavior. That is, to rise above programmed instruction, animal instinct, and conditioned responses. It has taken 15 billion years of evolution to produce this magnificent entity, Homo sapiens sapiens. If one continues the process of looking and tries to find himself, it will prove elusive, and no substantial entity can be found that is a self. That is, the self is a figment of the imagination. Imagine that. Your life has been run by an imaginary entity. You live in a society that insists that we all live our lives as selves created by ignorance, delusion, and the hubris of a master race that would civilize us. There is no original sin in the African ontology. The sin is not to see yourself and the universe as an indivisible, non-dual entity. All evil in the world comes from the dualistic thinking of self and other, which begets competition, conflict, selfishness, and greed. The good news is that you now enter the domain of the nature of your mind, and you're free to explore this without interference from habitual patterns, labels, characteristics, reference points, or anyone else's propaganda. Amos Wilson, a noted African-American psychologist in 1999, said this in an essay, Garveyism and the Age of Globalism. We see in Marcus Garvey, the ultimate psychotherapist, one who is revealing and who reveals the unconscious controls, the controls that work in private outside of our consciousness by our enemies and oppressors. Yet, despite those controls being outside of our consciousness, they were manipulating our behavior to our own disadvantage. In bringing those unconscious forces into consciousness, he made it possible for us to bring those forces under our control, rule, logic, rationality, and under the control of the ideology of Pan-Africanism. This is the legacy that still lives today. This is freedom of the mind. It is natural. It is Rasta brethren here. It is natural, right? Rasta man. It is absolute. It is at the very core of your being. It is oneness beyond duality. The immediacy of the bare act of perception. Perhaps Martin Luther King Jr. experienced this when he said, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. I know that is what Marcus Garvey meant when he said, I have an original African mind. I know that is what Steve Biko meant when he said, I write what I like. You see, in our history, we were never thrown out of the Garden of Eden. We never lost our relationship with God, which we see as the totality of the universe. There is nothing but God, and all life is therefore sacred. With this freedom and the understanding of the nature of our mind, we can begin the process of self-transformation and contribute to building a better society. The purpose of being human is to become fully human. And the meaning of life is to live as the best possible human that you can be. Marcus Garvey said he was bringing a revolution to the African people of the world, a mental revolution. This is the only revolution that will be successful and that will change the world. But it is your responsibility to become that hero or heroine who has mastered in herself and therefore lives in harmony with life and all its manifestations. This is power. Rule your world. What you have unleashed is the greatest power in the world. Spiritual power, African power. It is a challenge, and it's hard, but it's also the most fun you can possibly have. Living joyfully and totally without fear. Marcus Garvey expects this from you in the 21st century. An African human being living African humanism. Up, you mighty people, you can accomplish what you will. Thank you. a few minutes? Oh, okay, great. Because I'd like to make an announcement and I'd like to make a few presentations. First, if
Not hearing you.
hello? Yeah, I think that's better now. Okay. First, I'd like to make an announcement. And I take great pleasure today, Saturday, August the 17th, 2013, the birthday of our first and only international hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey, being celebrated today as Marcus Garvey Day, to publicly launch, endorse, and accept the position of patron of the Social Development Commission's 2013 poetry competition for secondary school students under the theme, Proud of My Black Skin. For this year only, the competition will be launched on Marcus Garvey Day because of the great symbolism of today's day. This year, our first set of awards will be made during October, National Heritage Week, when we celebrate the lives and work of our national heroes. In future years, the awards will be made on Marcus Garvey Day, the 17th of August, annually. The main aim of the exercise, through creative literary endeavor, is to reinforce, instill, or reinstill racial pride in the color of our black skin. With the majority of our Jamaican people, which the majority of our Jamaican people wear, the Marcus Garvey Poetry Competition is supported by the Jamaica Teachers Association and the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. I wish to commend the Social Development Commission and Mr. Paul Clark on this initiative, recognizing that the works and teachings of the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey are totally in line with the vision and mission statement and stated core values. I accept this and I make the statement, and I'm very happy to be part of this poetry competition going forward, and I'm very happy to work with the Social Development Commission. Paul, are you still here? Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Paul, for inducting me. It is indeed an honor. I would like also to interrupt the program. This is totally impromptu, and you'll see why perhaps in a few minutes. Remote. Come on, there are those who have labored long and hard in the field of Garveyism and have dedicated their lives and have committed themselves to Pan-Africanism and the upliftment of people of the Negro race and of the African world. My knowledge and friendship with this great Jamaican hero, Mr. Rupert Lewis, goes back many, many years. You didn't know you're a hero, Rupert? No? Well, then you're my hero. And you're Marcus Garvey's hero. I would like you to come up here. I just have a small token of that appreciation, a medal, which I'm going to ask like I said, to me, Rupert is a Garvey hero, and this. Well, let me just read the certificate of authenticity of this. I, the undersigned, hereby certify that this is a genuine Jamaican coin issued by the Bank of Jamaica in 1987, which commemorated the 100th anniversary of my father, Marcus Messiah Garvey's birth. This coin is electroplated with 24-karat gold and is not legal tender. And this is the fourth. This is the fourth in a series. I've given out 3 so far. And Rupert, this is indeed an honor for me to embrace this. this institution essentially owes its birth to Donna. She has labored hard. She has almost had nervous breakdowns. She has perspired. She has lost weight. She's been in all this class of getting her PhD, and she's just a wonderful person. Totally dedicated. So here's okay, I have one more, and I would like to ask Mr. NKOSINATHI BIKO to come up and to receive this on behalf of his father, who has been a hero of mine since I've read of his teachings and of his sacrifice.
Hold it there.
Okay. Donna,
Yes.
would you
Donna.
like the three to
Okay.
have
Yes.
a picture together?
Yes, yes.